Buenos días. Son las 12 y es el viernes. Hello, everyone. It's 12 o'clock and it's Friday, so it's time for our last community Spanish of this week, broadcasting 3 times a week, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at noon. In addition to our kids programming, French every weekday at 3, Spanish for kids every weekday at 3:30, and we also have our community French for adults on Tuesday and Thursday mornings at 8:30. And in addition to our Facebook Live programming, we also have Instagram Live programming happening. So we have additional French and Portuguese lessons up on our Instagram. So please feel free to tune into that and pass along to anyone else who you think might benefit from these live lessons that we're giving. A couple other reminders before I get to our topic for today. We have our July classes are coming up quite soon, not this week, but the next week, the week of July 6th. And we still have a few spaces open. So if you are looking to find a class, please feel free to check out our website, rolalanguages.com, and you can see all the different options for the different languages, the schedules, the pricing, all of that stuff is there. So feel free to check that out and look and see if there's a class that works well for you. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us, whether it's about the class or if you need help to find the right level, we're happy to help with that. So please feel free to check that out. And then the last thing to mention is to please like, comment, and share on the videos so we know what you are enjoying about the videos and maybe any recommendations you have about things you'd like to learn about. We're happy to take requests. And then as usual, but I'm going to post after we do the video. I'm going to not only post this video up on our website on the Facebook Live webpage, but I'm also going to be posting some extra short exercises to go along with the videos that we're making. So if you want to practice a little bit more, if you want to send it along to someone who didn't see the video live, you're welcome to check out those resources on our Facebook Live page on our website. So without further ado, let's get into our topic for today, which is to look at the verb hacer, which means to do or to make in Spanish. And not only to learn this verb, but also to learn some of these really helpful expressions that we can use in our everyday life that use hacer as a base. So it's kind of a joint lesson of the verb and also the expressions that go along with it. So first, let's get into the verb and make sure we know how to use it properly. And then we'll get into some of those expressions that we can use really in our everyday life. So I think this is a lesson that's useful to people who are both beginners in Spanish and also people who maybe have a little bit higher level, because these expressions are useful for everyone. So starting with the verb hacer, as I mentioned, this is the verb we're working with, which means to make or to do in Spanish. Okay, so just to do a quick review of the conjugations first before we get into the expressions. So again, hacer itself means to do or to make, depending on the context. In Spanish, they don't really differentiate between these two things. In English, obviously, it matters to us whether it means do or make, but in Spanish, this verb hacer encompasses both those meanings. So just to go over the conjugations first. So for yo, and please repeat this after me, por favor, repiten después de mí. We have yo hago. Yo hago. So again, this one is a little bit of an irregular verb in the yo mostly. All the other forms are regular. So we have yo hago would be I do or I make. Now for tú, we have haces. Haces. You do or you make. Then for él, ella, usted, we have hace. Hace. Then for nosotros or nosotras, we have hacemos. Hacemos. So that'd be we do or we make. Then for vosotros, which I know we don't really use very often, if for those of us who are speaking Spanish from outside of Spain, vosotros is only used in Spain. So, but just for the sake of having all of the information in front of us, I'm going to include this. So we have for vosotros, it's hacéis. Hacéis. So this would be you all, as in you, the group, do or make. And then the last one we have is for ellos, ellas, ustedes. So for they or for you all, ustedes, which is the word we use in all of the other countries outside of Spain. We're going to use the form hacen. Hacen. So vamos a repetir otra vez. Let's repeat this just all one more time quickly before we get to our expressions. So we have hago, haces, hace, hacemos, hacéis, hacen. Muy bien. So now that we have those under our belt, then we can start looking at some of these expressions that use hacer. So these conjugations are going to come in handy as we go to look at these expressions and when we want to go to use them. So first expression we have here is hacer la compra. Hacer la compra or hacer las compras. We can make it plural if we want. This means to go shopping. Again, it's literally to do the buy, right? To make the buy. So, but in English, we would call this going shopping. So, hacer la compra. Next one we have is hacer la comida. Hacer la comida. To make food. This one I think is a little bit simpler. It's literally to make food. Okay, hacer la comida. Next one we have for to exercise. Now this one can be something that's a little tricky for some students because there's no verb in Spanish that's direct like the English to exercise. In Spanish, I would say there is one option, but it's not very commonly used. So essentially there isn't. So instead we should use this expression, hacer ejercicio. It means to do exercise, to make exercise. Hacer ejercicio. And we can use this for either like a physical exercise, like going to the gym, or we can also use it in terms of like you're doing exercises like homework exercises for school. So we can use ejercicio in both of those contexts, but it's hacer ejercicio. Okay. Now next we have to pack your bags or to, pack your luggage. It's hacer la maleta. Hacer la maleta. So la maleta is the suitcase. So it's like literally to make your suitcase, but I mean to fill it with your things, to pack. Next, we have to make a call. Hacer una llamada. Hacer una llamada. And remembering from, as I've mentioned in several previous videos, with the double L pronunciation, so we can say it llamada, llamada, or llamada. So we can have a couple of different variations on how we want to pronounce the double L. Okay, next one we have is to wait in line. And again, in Spanish, it's literally like to make line. Okay, so we say hacer cola or hacer fila. But I think hacer cola is slightly more common, slightly more popular. Hacer cola or hacer fila, which means to wait in line. Next one we have is to harm or injure. This one's literally like to cause damage. Hacer daño. Hacer daño. Next one we have is to do, again, redo, hacer de nuevo. Hacer de nuevo. So again, this is like to do or do again or redo. Next one we have is hacer falta. Hacer falta. So this one is something's to be missing. Like it's kind of, this one is a little bit, little more complex to use. It's kind of how we would explain like something, though we would express in Spanish, if something is missing, like for example, something is missing to me, it means I'm missing something. So, and we can use this in the sense of like an emotional miss, like you miss someone, like a feeling. But we also, I think we use it a little bit more commonly in terms of like an object that's missing. Like I need more of this. Like for example, I'm out of paper. I need more paper. Like I'm writing something. So like me hace falta más papel. Me hace falta. So again, it's to make lacking to me. So this one we're going to probably include like me or te or le to explain that something is missing to someone. So we have to think about it a little bit kind of backwards from how we might normally think about it in English. Again, we would say like I'm missing something in English, but in Spanish we would say something is missing to me. If we want to think about it kind of in that way, it's very similar to the kind of gustar that we have looked at in previous videos. If you want to check that out, I recommend that because there's a lot of parallels we can draw between these two kinds of verbs to explain, to say something is missing to you. Okay. All right, that's hacer falta, and then we have 3 more at the end. These are weather expressions, like weather as in how things are outside. So, for example, it's hot. Like today, it's kind of hot. Hace calor. Hace calor. Next one for it's cold. Hace frío. Hace frío. And the last one, hace viento. Hace viento. Or it's windy. And so what you'll notice here is that all of these are hace. So you see in the previous ones, we had hacer, the infinitive, because these, we put the infinitive there to show you that it will change based on the person who's doing it. So it can be change for yo, for hago. It could be tú for haces. But for weather, because there's not actually a person involved in the weather, we have kind of one form that's impersonal. There's no person, and so it always stays the same. So you wouldn't say like hago calor, like I make hot. It doesn't make sense. So you can only use the form hace, and that's why we have hace here and with the little star, the little asterisk, to show you that this is one that is fixed. It does not change. It's always hace calor, hace frío, hace viento, whatever it is for weather. It's hace, and it does not change like with the different people. Versus the expressions we learned above are ones that will change depending on the person. So let's go through those one more time quickly just to repeat, and then we're going to do a short exercise to practice using them in a little bit of context. And then as I said at the start of the video, I'll be posting then an extra exercise. So if you want to practice a little more with these expressions in a way that's, an exercise, I think honestly the best practice for these expressions are, because they're things that will be part of your everyday life, is you can use them in your normal conversation. And I think that's going to be the best, most effective practice for you. But if you want to do a little bit more of kind of practice on paper, I'm going to have another activity to post on the website, so you can check that out after. But we're going to do a short activity together during this video. But first, one more time, we're just going to review quickly the expressions before we get to the exercise. So we have hacer la compra, hacer la comida, hacer ejercicio, hacer la maleta, hacer una llamada, hacer cola, hacer fila, hacer daño, hacer de nuevo, hacer falta, hace calor, hace frío, hace viento, yo hago, tú haces, él, ella, usted hace, nosotros hacemos, vosotros hacéis, ellos, ellas, ustedes hacen. Muy bien. So let's then go ahead to do our short exercise together. So vamos. Going to go to this exercise below. So again, it's just 6 questions. I think it's a Friday. We're all ready to end the day, so I didn't want to give an exercise that's too long. So vamos a rellenar los espacios en blanco usando la forma correcta del verbo hacer. So essentially this one, we have to put the right form of hacer in the blank to make the sentence complete. So, and please feel free to add your replies in the comments of the video so I can see if you're remembering those conjugations. So for número 1, we have yo, blanco, las maletas. So again, we have to put the right form of hacer to complete the sentence. So just to get everyone started, I'm going to put the first one. So yo hago las maletas. I make the suitcases, but we mean like I pack the bags. Okay, yo hago las maletas. Next one we have ella, blanco, una llamada. Ella en una llamada. So again, we have to put the right form of hacer to go with ella. Ella hace una llamada. From the él, ella, usted form, which is hace. Ella hace una llamada. She makes a call. She makes a call. Next one we have just one word to help us. We have the word calor. Remember, calor, hot is for weather. And so what we remember from learning above, that for weather, the form of hacer never changes. It's always the same one form. And so that's going to be hace. Hace calor. It's hot. Again, it's an impersonal, as in there's no person involved, form of hacer here. So it's hot. It makes heat. It's as in the weather. So hace calor. Next one we have Eric, and then blanco, la cola. So we again have to put the form that goes well with Eric. So Eric would be in the él, ella, usted form. So we're going to have the same as número 2, and it would be hace. Eric hace la cola. Literally, Eric makes the line, but again, it's expression meaning to wait in line, hacer la cola. Now, next one we have is another one-word clue of viento. Viento, if you remember, another weather expression. This is wind. So you say like, it's windy. It makes wind. So this one is going to be the exact same as número tres. So we will have again the impersonal, hace viento. Hace viento. It's windy. Okay, uno más, one left before we wrap up our video for today. So we have, again, another one word. It's frío, 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 cold. Okay, so again, our last final weather expression. So we're going to use the form of hacer in its impersonal form. Again, just like we had for número tres y número cinco. So we have hace again. So hace frío. Muy bien. So again, that wraps up our short exercise for us to do today, but I'm going to post another exercise on the website. So if you want to practice a little bit more with these expressions, but again, I strongly encourage you to try to use them in your everyday Spanish conversation, or even if you don't have someone to talk to in Spanish, even just to brainstorm to yourself, to think about, okay, what am I doing today? And then you can make a list in your head. And that's a good way to keep your Spanish active, even if you have no one to talk to, or if you're not in a class. To practice with hacer. But these expressions are quite basic, quite essential. So they're something that you can definitely practice really all the time. They're always going to be useful, always come in handy. So that wraps up our lesson for today. So I'm going to be back next on Monday at 12 for our first community Spanish of the following week. And please remember to check out our class schedule if you're looking to maybe start a class in July. We have a lot of different options and spaces available. So please feel free to check out our website, and you can look at the class schedule along with the extra Facebook Live worksheets that I'm going to post. So muchas gracias y adiós.